The Dolphins and Chargers Week 14 matchup has been flexed into Sunday Night Football. Tua v. Herbert, national TV. That's Goosey's galore, dude. I can't wait. Oh, way to stick it right to him, Leroy, right in front of the entire nation.
Can I tell you what's going to happen right now? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
Go.
Mike McDaniel and Tua are going to pick the Chargers apart, and everybody's going to wonder, why is that coach still the coach of LA?
Oh, Staley?
Yeah.
Everybody loved him. Like, he was the toast. He was like the toast of the town at the beginning of last year. Now all of a sudden,
until they didn't get in the playoffs because he was
stupid.
Yeah. Until
he was stupid. But I can't. I'm so glad that this gets a little extra bump, because look, this is a fun 3-game stretch coming up here between the Niners game. What? Yeah. How can you even? How is that even debatable?
Okay.
Why would you question that?
Because I would rather for me, it sucks that you play all of them on the road. I would rather not. Right?
It's tough. I'm not saying it's not tough, but
are they going to stay out there?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going to stay out there for 3 weeks, or how are they going to do it? They're going to travel out there for this week and then stay for the next 2?
I'd imagine they're traveling out. I think they leave Friday for this week's game,
right?
And then they're staying over for the LA game.
Okay.
That's how they're doing it. And then I'm sure they'd come back home for the Buffalo.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, it's a tough 3 games. Don't get me wrong. Yes, playing on the road, but still, like, this is juice right here, dude. Come on.
Mm-hmm. This is
high stakes matchups. Because I heard this yesterday. I was hearing some dummies around on Jet Up or their spinoffs, like Bart Scott's radio show, and he's like trying to do the thing where he's poo-pooing the Dolphins schedule. I'm like, isn't that cute? Now we're doing that as if the first 3 games of the season didn't happen. You know, as if they didn't beat the Buffalo Bills. I know everybody wants to give them a little sun pass, like they're trying to go through the season toll-free, but it is quite amazing that how easily we forget that the Dolphins were 3-0 before Tua Tagovailoa got stretched off a field. And now he's taking advantage of cream puffs. Interesting. Very interesting how all of a sudden old Narrativeville, hey, welcome to Narrativeville, flips on its head because it's Miami. I've seen this story before. It's called, when they called the Heat dangerous loomers, they're trying to do the same thing to the Dolphins, Leroy. They don't want to welcome them to the party. They want to put them on another tier. They don't want to see them as true contenders.
You know what the great thing about sports is?
I swear to God, if you say that it get proven on the field, I might lose it, because you say the same thing every time. Here's the thing, Leroy. You want to know something about sheep? It's obvious to say when you're off in the field, but why don't you realize when the wolf is already coming, huh? When he's already on your back, it's too late, Chief. You can't tell me what's obvious. Oh, I get to prove it? Great. How about you recognize it now? Recognize it now, Bart Scott. Can't wait. How about you wait on this?
Who cares if you like the results speak for themselves? Who cares if you
got on the radio yesterday and he was explaining how the Dolphins are going to lose their next 5 games. And I'm like, you sound like a loon. This team, with their starting quarterback, has looked like one of the most unstoppable forces in the league. And that's the facts, Jack. Of all time. They have. They got a receiver leading the league in yards, record pace still. A guy 4th who's about to pass 1,000 yards in receptions. They got an unbelievable quarterback. They got a savant for a coach. And it looks like the defense is picking up. And these guys want to say, because they beat, why? Because they beat the Texans? Now all of a sudden it's all discredited? Crazy. And then this Chris Sims yesterday. You want to know what he said?
What did he say?
This guy off a game against the Texans is like, we now have to recognize the Dolphins as a force. Now? So you, Bart Scott, recognize the Dolphins are a force. And you, Chris Sims, do me a favor. Shut up. I don't want you saying now you recognize the Dolphins as a force. Too late, dude. Get your takes in line.
You done? Anybody else?
Colin Cowherd. Stop lying to Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
That's hard.
That's a good Colin Cowherd.
Enough of him.
Your Terry
Sick of
Bradshaw
his
needs
ass.
some work, though. I heard that yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. It always turns into Jerry Jones.
It's very strange.
Colin, I don't know how to do Terry Bradshaw.
Does anyone?
I don't know. I can't do a good Terry Bradshaw. But the point is, he's like sitting there saying he's been a Tua believer. And I believe Terry Bradshaw, because why would he lie? But Colin Cowherd's trying to like get on it. And then Terry Bradshaw goes, I could tell you don't like him. You don't like him. Oh, I'm more of a Burrow guy. Oh, the guy you do a podcast with? Wow, shocking. But it's okay. Guess what, dude? The train keeps rolling. Show goes on. San Francisco, you guys are about to get a big old slice of humble pie and going to realize the real genius left the building. San Diego / LA, who cares? Nobody cares about your team in your own city.
Oh, who cares?
You're about to realize you got yourself a bridesmaid QB. You wish the Dolphins passed on Tua Tagovailoa. That's what you're going to say after this game. And Buffalo, you're going to realize sun, snow, sleet, wet, dry, doesn't matter. Dolphins are kicking your ass. It's all happening, baby.
Anyone else?
Yeah, while we're at it, this Deebo Samuel.
Oh, put your
don't
thumbs
even
away,
talk
dude.
about this guy.
You don't talk about our Raheem Mostert like that. You wanted to be here. You didn't want Jimmy G.
He didn't even want to be there.
Get the hell out of there.
Come on.
You want to hear Mike McDaniel mic'd up?
Sure.
This was from NFL Films yesterday.
Clock, 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 clock. Nice.
Wait. So he went from sounding like his head was gonna explode because somebody wasn't clocking the ball.
Well, you remember I don't know because you were watching Cleveland. So Tua gets bent backwards like Neo, and they have to clock it so they can get a field goal before the end of the half. And so Tua has to go from turning from Gumby into getting upright and get everybody up line. So I kind of understand the panic in all of that, but he kind of sounded like a chicken.
Clock, 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 clock.
Nice.
Nice.
Like he just goes back to being. Oh my goodness. Now the thing is, what would make it even more incredible is the play with the sideline, because you can put it in perspective of what's going on, because I've seen that before and I've seen it go the other way, right? Like coaches yelling, you want a timeout after this play? You can sometimes hear in the mic, like in the helmet, and the coach will say, and if we get tackled in play, we want a timeout right away. And the guy get tackled in the middle of the field, and 10 seconds will run off, and the coach is, about ballistic on the sidelines. But yeah, so. But how he went back to just like, nice.
Mike McDaniel.
Nice.
I loved it, man. I love seeing him mic'd up. I mean, it was funny because they had the whole anecdote that everybody's been talking about this week between him and Tua and the 700, but you actually get to hear their relationship back and forth. And they're talking trash to each other during the game. He was basically saying that he's like, yeah, I got bored the other night, couldn't sleep. Watched your high school tape with Trent Dilfer. Trash.
I love that so much.
I love it too.
Love that so much.
I love it too. But then the goosey moment of them all. Tua's not going to win. Tua has a great play. You know, that's what he does. Awesome quarterback. And then Mike McDaniel walks away and he just goes, kid's an effing savant. I was like, oh, that's good.
Dude, I'm telling you,
That's good right there.
If I could say one thing to get people to understand how talented Tua is, the area in the field in which he has thrown the football consistently and accurately is like danger zone for quarterbacks, and he lives there. I mean, I can't. I mean, I had the conversation with Bernie. He goes, "I wouldn't throw it there that much." Like they admit it. This is like there's only a handful of quarterbacks that can do this to where they live in the middle of the field. Because keep in mind, all defenses are daring you to throw it in the middle of the field. They drop their linebackers back. They got the safeties back there. Everybody's willing to protect that area of the field, and you're still able to have success there is incredible.
We'll take a quick break here on the show. You guys can text at 305-567-0560. Thank you to the Twitchers. I didn't see this on Twitter. Tyreek Hill has entered the Raheem Mostert, Deebo Samuel chat. As I report on this show, all right, and Leroy dismisses, the beef is a brewing between the Dolphins and the 49ers. He wants to deny it. He wants to be a denier that there is not beef. This doesn't matter. He is wrong. Tyreek Hill has entered the chat.
Oh, boy.
He tweets this morning, Raheem out here starting stuff.
Why would they do that?
Basically telling you, we got to go to bat for our teammate. So I'm telling you right now, dude, it's coming for the 49ers, Leroy.
First of all, he said Raheem is starting stuff.
Well, he did. I mean, technically he did.
Okay, so he just laughing at it.
But he knows what it means. You got to have your guys back.
Okay.
He knows what it means, dude. This is getting juicy. And words are going to fly today because players are back talking. The coaches. I'm telling you right now, Leroy, business picks up today when it comes to Dolphins and Niners.
We have beef.
Business picks up, dude.
And look at the laughing, crying emoji.
Yep.
They're kidding, man.
No, that's not what that means. You don't know how to use emojis. You're an old man.
You know, that was a bit rough.
I know.
-1
I know how to use
for
emojis.
sass.
For the rest of the
know
day,
that.
every text
No.
I send to the group will have an emoji.
Oh, God, here we go. This is like when you promise to tweet. You'll do it for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, it'll last as long as the spotter did in NFL.
Oh, the spotter. What a bunch of crap that was. Dolphin Kane says on Twitch, I love my Dolphins, but without team MVP Teron Armstead, I'm gnawing on my fingernails.
Me
Dolphins scored 30 in the first half with the Texans and 0 in the second half. And then Teron left the game, and McCochin had to take 2 out because he was getting plastered. He was. I mean, like, that was a scary thing to see. I will say, I can't imagine it being as bad. You know, you talk about with a week's practice, they know he's not going to practice. That's got to be better for guys going into this situation. Losing him kind of out of the sky was a tough ask.
Well, the one thing that I'll say about what they've done with the offensive line is that the thing that's going to help them is to plan for all these things and have the whole week to do it, because you have an idea. Because just from being on the field, I know this. Very rarely is a coach going to draw up a game plan, and that game plan involves maybe losing a guy. You're either in the game plan or you're not.
Right.
And so when you have to make those switches during the game, you're basically just trying to get to the end of the game. So when they had to, replace Austin Jackson, and they had to move Shell around, and they had to do, a whole bunch of little things to the offensive line, you're just trying to survive. Because a lot of these guys are playing positions they didn't work.
But I did think that even with Armstead in there, with them shifting and putting Austin Jackson back at the other end, it definitely felt, I don't know if it was rust, I don't know if it was picking the chemistry back up, but what they had in that Browns game and what they had in that wasn't the same line. Right. It wasn't. Even with Teron in there, Tua was having to do some really fancy stuff in the pocket, stepping up, being elusive. And that was, and that, I'm not talking about the time where he got his ass kicked. Like he had to do that was one of his most impressive games from a footwork standpoint to try and make things happen. So I don't know. I don't know if and Austin Jackson's also banged up again. He hurt the same ankle, so
right.
They may go to a situation where most of it was what's working. It was interesting though hearing Mike McDaniel say on Monday. He goes, "Look, I don't rule anything out with Armstead. It might be around the corner," which probably maybe he thinks he's going to play, and maybe he thinks that this guy has been in the league for a long time. He's
put
used
the
to
harness on him.
He's used to playing with pain. This Teron Armstead's a monster. He's used to playing with pain. Seemingly is, I don't know. But I certainly am. It definitely scares me a little bit. Nick Bosa not having your star left tackle. Yeah, I would be very nervous about that.
I would be, but I feel a little bit better in this. That if you have a week to prepare for all these issues, that the coaching staff and the players are going to have a better idea of who's going to do what. Because there's one thing to have, okay, if Austin Jackson can't make it, and then we replace him with Shell, who's played pretty good at times.
At the right side he has, yeah, for sure.
Right. Now you got Armstead and Shell is, I guess, your utility lineman, right? Where he can go left or right.
Mm-hmm.
But his strength may be on the right. You move him over to the left. Then Austin Jackson gets hurt, right? Now you don't usually have contingency plans for 2 or 3 linemen going out. You usually have one guy that you prepare to play a couple of different positions. And so now you're doing a lot of things where sometimes the guy playing that position, more importantly, is getting help on what the hell to do and not how to do it with the guy next to him. So with a week of preparation, if there's any extra work that needs to be done, if there's any other things that needs to be done, I think they can accomplish that. And then it becomes more of not do they know what to do, but are these guys good enough collectively to block the guys across from them?
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating thing to see for sure. Really interesting. I think my coach is talking in like 5 minutes, so we might get some answers, some updates. And then
we have every team that I played for, we knew who the utility lineman was. The guy that could play multiple positions. Usually 1 or 2 of your guards either came into the league playing center or can play center. So when they make that adjustment inside, it's pretty easy because those 3 or 4 or 5 guys have worked with each other. But when you go to left and right tackle, now it becomes a little bit different because you need probably your best offensive athletes on the edges. And if you have to then kind of fill spot with bodies, that might not be the best athletic guy, but he might be the guy that's the best for that position at the time.
You guys can text us at 305-567-0560 on the Count Toy text line. Let's see. He says, Austin Jackson is trash. He's the common denominator in the bad line play. He returned, and we sucked. Look, I don't know. I would say the circumstantial evidence for him, not great. It was not great.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know. Here's what I would also say.
People also did that with Liam Eichenberg. They felt like when Liam Eichenberg went down and he got replaced by Jones, better.
I would say this, that they must know something. He must have something going on for him because they have gone far and beyond the Call of Duty to get him back in there. So
do you think it's part of this though? Like I know this usually happens less in football because it's usually just the best guys, but he is a first round pick.
So's no Ngbenagami.
Well, he don't play. Yeah, I know.
Okay,
but Austin,
if you can't play, you can't play.
I know, but there's levels to this. Noah's inactive all the time for performance. Austin's missed games. It's only because of injury. He hasn't really lost his job for performance.
Right. So like, okay, so we're talking about two different things. You're trying to are you insinuating that he's not talented enough to be in there?
I'm not insinuating anything. I think what we're doing here is it's a subtraction by addition thing. People put him in there and they think that, well, it looked worse with him in there because we looked great against Cleveland. It was the best we've seen the line look all season. Now he's
Right.
back and it's terrible. So I think
Um,
that's what's going on with him.
I
Let me
mean,
get you out of
let's
here.
let's also not forget
Mhm.
that the other team has something to do with that. Sometimes the matchup is a lot better, for certain teams, or your scheme is a lot better, or what you're doing is a lot better um, against certain teams. So everybody looks good. For example, they ran the ball right up the middle, thus eliminating that outside pass rush.